This video is brought to you by China Media Strategies, the experts in China-focused media training and public relations. Censorship and hot-button issues.
Chinese media is not censored nearly as much as many Americans and Westerners believe. It's true, every media in China has censors, but in recent years, the censors have been allowing reporters and editors to push the envelope more and more. There are certain lines in the sand that you must never cross, but if you stay away from that line in the sand, you're safe. One line, for example, is recommending democracy. If you advocate for democracy, your story will be censored. You're really pushing up and directly threatening the government. When you do that, that cannot happen. But most media, especially when it comes to social issues and to political reform, corruption, they're willing to go quite far in criticizing their own leaders, surprisingly enough. It was quite interesting that a year and a half ago in Tiananmen Square, about 10 gay couples got married in Tiananmen Square to members of their own sex. And the Chinese media loved it. And China Daily sent reporters, and they took videos of these men marrying and kissing each other. It's not something you would associate with an authoritarian government like China's, but they're far more open-minded than we would think. There are blocked websites in China, as we all know. For years, the BBC, the Washington Post, the New York Times were blocked. Then, miraculously, they're now open now and accessible to everyone. Living with blocked websites in China is just part of daily life. It seems to be without rhyme or reason that suddenly a site you like one day is blocked. And to us in the West, that's a real big deal. The Chinese have been remarkably resilient with this. They know it happens, but they're not that put off by it because to them, for the first time in their lives, so much information is now being made available on the internet. To Western eyes, the glass is half empty. There's censorship. To Chinese eyes, the glass is half full, with more information than they ever dreamed would be possible for them to have, and the glass is getting fuller every day. There are certain hot-button issues that I always recommend that my clients try to avoid. These are issues that are very, very sensitive in China, and we in the West have our own opinions about these issues. Chinese people have their own opinions about these issues, and they're radically different from our own. They were taught different things about these topics in school than what we were taught. These things in particular are what we call in the industry the 3 T's: Tiananmen Square, Taiwan, and Tibet. And we could add to that 1 F, which is the Falun Gong exercise and spiritual group. These are topics with a huge emotional baggage attached to them. If you ask a Chinese person about Tibet, they will see it in a whole different light than we see it. They see themselves as having liberated Tibet. We might see it differently, but it doesn't really matter. The point is, we're there to talk about our business, our services, what we can bring to the people of China. If they try to engage us in a media interview on topics about those controversial issues, I strongly recommend you find a bridge away from that topic along the lines of, you know, it's an interesting situation, but my business is involved in this, and it really wouldn't be right for me to comment on something that I'm not an expert on. Chinese reporters will bring up these issues if they can find a correlation between that issue and your company. Let me give you an example. During the Olympic torch relay of 2008, I was involved with a client sponsoring that torch relay, and the torch controversially went to Tibet. And that meant that every reporter who wanted to talk to us about the torch relay always threw in a question about Tibet. What do you think of the torch going to Tibet? And this meant the client had to be prepared with bridges, with phrases that would help them get away from the Tibet question and make it clear and honest. We can't talk about Tibet. That's not our field of expertise.
We hope you found our video useful and interesting. There are lots more like it on our website. If you have questions about our services or want to schedule a media training, please contact us on 602-281-4458 or email info@chinamediastrategies.com.